Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially the cat called Wilson. Wilson, you wrote me a lovely letter, a fan letter, and you told me that Luke is your favourite person in the whole world. Wilson the cat, we love you ever so much. Anyway,
Meow.
we are here like news reporters. And in further news, Luke has something to say.
I'm going to wow you with some news that I read today, which I think is fascinating and scary at the same time. It's funny because when you first start to read this article, maybe humour is the first kind of reaction, but then when you start to read it, you're like, oh, actually, this is pretty serious. So anyway, here we go. So, George, penises around the world are shrinking.
Whoa! That explains it. I was wondering. I'm glad it's not only me. Phew. That's it, that story. It's a weight off my mind. Not laughing at all. It is not laughter or seriousness. It is utter relief.
Okay.
I finally sleep well for the first time in years. Go on then.
Right. So, and guess what's to blame? Guess what's to blame, first of all. Let's George, what is to blame? What do you think, if you had to hazard a guess, is to blame?
I've been thinking about it for years. All kinds of things. I said to the doctor, I don't know what it is, maybe I'm not eating enough meat, maybe. I don't know, you tell me.
It's pollution, George. Pollution is to blame, right? Now, this is the message, okay, from environmental scientist, Dr. Shana Swan. It's a beautiful name, isn't it?
Yeah,
Shana Swan. I'd like to meet
whatever
you,
she
Shana.
has to say,
right.
I'll listen to it.
I know, right? She's written a book on what pollution is doing to human reproduction, right? So she explains that fertility rates are falling, due to the impact of a chemical used in manufacturing plastics. Yeah? So
I have actually heard about this a long time ago.
So the chemicals called phthalate, that's what I'm going to call it, impact the endocrine system in humans. And basically it means a lot of babies are being born with noticeably smaller penises. Dr. Swan researched the effect by examining this phthalate syndrome, which is found in rats whose fetuses were exposed to the chemical. She found they were likely to be born with shrunken genitals. So plastic, right, is a huge issue. Now, what I want to say about this, George, before you put in your 2 cents, there's a lovely cat there. Is that Dr. Will? Is that Wilson, the one who's my favourite?
Dr. Wilson.
There you are, Dr. So he's a doctor. He'll know what to do about this shrunken
Wilson
penis
the cat.
situation. It's interesting because if you look at a cat, for example, right, a cat, right, obviously it's living in a domesticated life, but a cat has still got this wildness to it, right? A cat still lives a very wild life. It goes out, it goes hunting. If it finds a mouse, it'll probably kill it. It'll probably play with it. It'll probably mess about with it, yeah? Because it's in its instinct, right?
My spirit god, the cat.
Well, it's just, I can see that, to be fair.
it.
I can see that, right? Look at it alert and wavering and moving like one with its environment, right? We used to be like that, George, right? Well, I still am, to be fair. But we used to be like that. We used to move. We used to be within our environment. We used to be connected, right?
Used to be huge.
And our penises used to be huge. I mean, anyway, point being, that now we've become so disconnected from our environment. We're taking all these phthalates, all this plastic, it's being ingested into our mothers before we're even born, and then it's being absorbed into our own bloodstream, and then we're getting sick and it's messing with our endocrine system. What would you do about this, George? Because I think it's just another reason.
I'll get in a time machine, I'll go back in time and I would say, Mum, I told you not to eat that pot noodle, right? You pour the hot water into the pot noodle, it's full of plastic, the plastic melts into the pot, and then you're eating this plastic, and then before you know it, I'm being born with a shrunken phallic instrument.
Yeah.
It's not really fair, is it?
It's not fair.
What am I supposed to do with this? On this note, right?
Yeah.
On this topic, this hot topic.
It's a very hot topic.
This hot topic about how some men don't feel that hot because they feel as if they're walking around with something that is not as well endowed,
right,
as they would like to be.
Yeah, it's a huge subject.
I've had to deal with a lot of guys. I've had to help a lot of guys with dating life and stuff like that. And it has come up more than once, many more times than once, that it is a very severe insecurity for many men, penis size. Sure. Even ones that are perfectly adequate, right? So I'm going to branch this over into the fact that, as interesting a topic as that might be, let's think about the emotional ramifications. If a guy is actually growing up suffering, going, this fucking thing ain't growing at all, right? Like, it's incredible. I mean, it's hard enough to speak to girls when you're like young and a teenager and trying to understand, isn't it? It's hard enough as it is. And if that's an additional impediment, I mean, I remember being in secondary school and one of my best friends, said to me outside an English room, what if like the first time like we have sex or something, you like take off your like shorts and like she laughs? Like, what's going to happen? Like, what if that's the reaction? And these are common kinds of fears no matter what. And we were only about 13 then. But here's the thing. I'm going to say it just in case somebody's worried, just in case somebody's afraid, because I've literally had to deal with guys who have had this, not even a problem, but they think it's a problem.
It's a mental block, right? It's an obstacle they've got in their head.
That it's so significant, it's so important. So I'm going to tell you this. Even if you've got like a little winkle, like really little, and don't get me wrong, because I know I've been like talked about as being someone who's kind of a bit of an expert in this whole area.
Really? Is it true, George? You were ranked the #1 dating coach in the whole entire universe
for a time. But here's the thing, okay? And I've said it to guys. It's so true. Let's not be crass because it's public about it. But a woman, right? Like an actual woman, can bring herself to orgasm, right? With one of these, right? A finger. She can bring herself to orgasm with a finger. Bloody good as well, she can. Eyes roll back in the head, gasping for breath with that. And if she got two of them, even better, right? She could do amazing things with two fingers, okay?
So what did they need us for?
Well, this is a good point. What do they need us for? Now, first of all, obviously, you know, when she's up for it, and you're literally up for it, then obviously she wants, you know, a guy inside her when it's the right mood and all that stuff.
Sure.
But it's an important point you make, because women could just get like, you know, a toy. She could just get a dildo. She could just get something fucking giant and go, don't need a man, don't need a man. But here's another thought that a lot of guys who are very insecure don't think about. Have you ever seen those female vibrators, the popular ones that sort of like fit on a key ring and are like this big? Those little pink vibrators that zzz, right, they're tiny, they're not big, okay, and they're pretty popular. And the thing is when you say what do they need us for, that's the point. Why have a man when you could just have a giant dildo? I ask myself this question all the time, like what a mystery life is. But one thing that they love,
could it be also an emotional connection they're looking for, George?
But let's yes, okay, first of all, yes, 100%. Hark the heralds, angels sing. Yes, emotional connection. But there are certain things that men who are very insecure to even speak to women for this reason, which is a big reason, don't even acknowledge the fact or think about the fact that, think of how you feel when a woman touches you, a woman you're attracted to. How do you feel when she's rubbing your body, when she's pressing into you, when she's kissing your chest? It's wonderful. I don't even want to carry on with this video. I just want to run off.
I'm somewhere else now, George.
Exactly,
I'll be honest.
right?
You've taken me to a different place.
Not even talking about the actual physical act of the penetration. Literally, just how good does that feel when they put their hands on you, right? If they kind of pull you into them, pull you close. It feels amazing, doesn't it? You feel alive.
It's just that connection, right? That sensation, that power, that energy, that infusion of oneness, that unison of power, of harmony. It's lovely. It's beautiful. It's what we live for, George.
Immortality. You feel like you're going to live forever. It's, oh my God, everything suddenly makes sense, and yet you're not thinking with words. You're just feeling. That's all you're doing. That's all you need to do. But the point is that's huge, right? Huge. And my point is
well,
if you do that, like if she likes you and she wants to feel your body on her, she wants to feel your strength, she wants to feel your hands on her, she wants to feel touched and stroked and loved and caressed. Even something as simple as stroking the hair, stroking the cheeks, stroking the whole body, mind you. They have a whole body. You don't just have to be like, where's the genitalia? I could stroke her here and I could stroke her here. No, the whole thing is there to be touched and felt and caressed. And you don't just have to do it with your wongle, you know what I mean? Like, you just stroke her body like you're painting a picture with it. No, right? Use your hands. Remember that she
use
can
your tongue.
Use your tongue. Use your lips.
I mean, obviously,
use your mouth, use your breath.
With a consenting, you know.
Try that. They like it. Touch it on the ear. Women have a thing about the ear, right?
I actually have a thing against the ear, but it's the opposite for me. Like the ear thing weirds me out. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of women, they like the ear. They have some
erogenous.
There you go.
Erogenous.
So
you're just talking about it, George, is getting me excited.
I'm not gonna
we don't
need to harp on the subject, but I've spoken to a lot of guys where they are literally like, my dong isn't very big. It ain't my fault, okay? And I'm scared to approach women. And once it's going well, I'm then scared to take my clothes off. And this is a big thing. And if what you're saying in that news article is true, then listen, all men of the future, just remember.
A message from the past to you guys.
You can come to orgasm with one of these. And even better if it's yours. Do you know what I mean? Because that feels even better. So, you know, just bear it in mind. it's not the end of the world. There are other ways to stimulate her and make her feel good and loved, and speak to her. Speak to her in the bed. You know what I mean?
That's a
Don't be
big
mute.
one.
Don't be mute, and even that's hard when you start
That's
out.
a big
isn't
one.
It? When you're young, it's like I'm supposed to speak now.
It's a huge one. I think
It's hard to speak in bed when you're starting out.
in my experience, yeah, talking to a woman in an intimate situation like that it can drive them absolutely crazy, right? And that's what I think we need to remember as men. Potentially, some of us forget that there's so much more to making love than just a penis.
We're going to get that on a t-shirt. That's what's going to go on his gravestone. There is more to making love than just a penis. Luke.
Listen, I'd be happy with that. If that was my contribution, I'll take that.
It's true. Isn't it true, women? You understand. I mean, look, there are plenty of women who have gone out with guys with all the money in the world, right? And then guess what? They leave them. Didn't go well. That was not enough to actually keep her satisfied. Equally, there are women who go out with a guy who has a schlong as large as my arm, right? I was making a position there like Captain Planet. With our powers combined, go planet. But just basically,
it's not the be all and end all.
It's not the be all and end all.
It's not the
It's not the be all and end all. You work with what you have. You make do with what you have, and if it's not the best, you compensate in other ways.
In other directions.
You can make her go wild just with like, just read up on it, right? Just think about what can I say to her? How can I tease her on the run up? What can I do with that ice cube in the freezer?
George has had a bit of experience, hasn't he?
Woo! Oh, and here's another thing. Remember, guys, a lot of guys forget about this, is that the average woman, usually the ones you like, are actually smaller than you. And sometimes guys forget that, because they sometimes think like, well, I don't know if I'm actually that blessed. I don't know if it's that big. And it's like, well, it's bigger for her than it is for you. Did you ever think about that? It is actually bigger for her than it is for you. Unless you're going out with someone who's like taller than you and whatever. Anyway, we were talking about talking in the bedroom. Do you want to say any more? Or?
Well, I just want to say, yeah, like, obviously I'm not going to divulge any specific names or anything, but...
Damn it.
I think in my experience, yeah, like just being manly, being masculine, being manly, and connecting to that sense of yourself, right? And just... And giving her that energy, obviously in a very respectful way, but in a very strong, assertive, potentially dominant way. If it's within a safe space, that can be an incredible turn on. So just remember, you have the power within you. You are a man, right? If you're a man and you're watching this, then you have the power within you,
You're
right?
thinking about Captain Planet as well now.
Our
powers combined, you have the power.
But it's true though, George. I genuinely believe this. If you are a man, you have that power within you, right?
Well, how good does it feel if a woman starts talking to you like that?
Oh my God! If a woman starts connecting to that feminine energy and she starts telling you what she wants you to do to her and what she wants to do to you, and
no touching even necessary.
Listen, it's just power, right? You feel it.
I'm going to ejaculate just thinking about it now.
I wouldn't be surprised, George. I wouldn't be surprised.
And what is that mark on my leg?
So yeah, guys, I think we pretty much covered this subject, but I do think
Splurged.
Exactly. But can I say, I want to say something on this though. This is a very, very interesting subject, and I hope we've given it justice. But I want to say one part of this, right? This is a very important part, in my opinion, right? And it's this, right? Right? I think what comes into clear focus on when you talk about this subject is just how connected we are to our environment. Now, we live in a culture where we often like to believe that we're autonomous, that we're individuals, that we're independent humans, right? And of course, to a certain extent, from a certain lens, I am me and you are you, and the cameraman is the cameraman. We're separate beings.
You are you.
But on a deeper level,
you and me,
we're not. And also on a scientific level, we're not, right? And this really brings that into play, the fact that if you're ingesting, if not even you, if your mother or your father is ingesting these kind of harmful plastics into their body, this is going to
say something else, then.
It's going to affect you. It's going to affect you, George. It's going to affect me. It's going to affect the whole human bloody race, right? George, what do you have to say on them? In summary, what do you think needs to be done? How do you feel about the fact that there is a crisis in men's penis sizes, about the fact that men, you've already spoken about the psychology behind it, about how we can defeat.
What do I have to say about it? What do you have to say about it?
Says he wishes he was bigger. Hear that, plastics? Straight from
Plastics,
the
right?
horse's mouth.
Point being, guys, right? It doesn't matter what your issue is. Small penis, tiny vagina. Just
But
know.
that's another thing. That's another thing that I forgot to say. There is such a thing as small penis, big vagina. It's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Women don't talk about it, right? But there is.
That's a really
literally-
interesting-
There is a subject which is that some women are like,
They're conscious about it, and they're insecure about the fact they have a massive.
yeah. So there you go. Women have their own insecurity in this area.
Yeah.
They're not all the same. But do you know what? Are you that bothered? Do you think like no fun to be had? I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't, because there's a deeper connection going on, right? And that's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about deeper connection. It's about light. It's about love.
It's an innuendo.
It's about truth. It's about wisdom. It's about connection. It's about spirit. It's about essence. It's about believing in who you are,
about
believing in
leaving
who
your
she is.
friends behind,
It's about the heart that we have. It's about me, the heart. It's about love, George. It's about the connection that we've made on this video and the
about
connection
that
we've
cat.
always had. So guys, make some connections, make some true connections, be authentic, be genuine, be yourself. But by being yourself, I mean be your best self, just like George and I am.
Don't
we
be
love
afraid
you.
to whip it out. Just whip it out.
Whip it out right now, guys. We're going to do that as soon as this camera stops
And
rolling.
if it's in your hand already, then put it away for God's sake. Pay attention to something. Stop being so disgusting in your mind. But if you haven't had it out all video, then take it out
Yes.
now. You have my permission. Take it out. Even if you're watching this on a train. Anyway, that's it. We're going to go now from us, you, and Wilson the cat.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye. I've been hearing these sounds coming from the basement.
They say it's the scariest book of all time. The only book that's alive. You've heard of books you can't put down. Well, this book will put you down.